Democrats. Today is Thursday, July 14th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Thursday. Oh my goodness. So much is going on. The continuing saga of the Tulsa Public Schools school board meeting. You really cannot make that level of crazy up. One of the school board members wanted to end the high school education of Chinese at Booker T. Washington High School, which has been there since the 80s. But she wanted to end the teaching of Chinese because it's making kids communist. Wowza. So that's all the update I have on that. And there's plenty more you can find on the Tulsa Public Schools website. They will have an update there. So real quick question. Jonathan Keepers asked who's running against Lucas. That's Jeremiah Ross. Jeremiah Ross is an attorney who is running for Congressional District 3. So get that out of the way. I want to answer that question before we lose it. So this week I am focusing on introducing you to candidates who are outside of the metro areas. They're outside of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, because if we're going to grow our Democratic base, we have got to expand out of the urban centers. Excuse me. But before I go there, because I don't want to take up any of Steve's time of our candidates' time, while I highlight a little bit more crazy that's going on as it relates to our state. Everybody knows about, that we lost out on Panasonic, and I'll talk about that on another day. But today is not the day for me to let you guys know how I feel about our current governor. Today is the day for me to remind you the importance of replacing James Lankford, Senator James Lankford. We have two candidates who are on the ballot to replace Senator James Lankford. And let me remind you of the new thing, or let you know about the new thing that he's done. So you all know about the Roe decision, and you know about the trigger law that Oklahoma had that basically says no exceptions. Well, Oklahoma is not the only state that has that. And so the Senate, the United States Senate, said, you know what, let's make it nationally so it's not so crazy. Let's make it where there are some exceptions for health, and where people can get the needs that the care that they need, even if it's outside of their state. Our senator Lankford said no. He was the dissenting vote, which meant it couldn't pass by acclamation. If you have one person saying no, it can't pass by acclamation. He's the dissenting vote and said no. So if you live in Oklahoma and you choose by yourself without any help, you choose to leave the state to seek reproductive health care, because it is effectively illegal in our state, but it's not illegal in other states. And so I don't go to jail. I'm not going to tell you where. It's not illegal in other states. Senator Lankford wants to penalize people for going out of state and getting the care that they need. How do we do that? Do we stop every person of childbearing age and at the borders and make them prove that they're not pregnant before they leave? I mean, how do we do that? And what this does is it will penalize. He wants to penalize the doctors in other states where it's legal if they help someone. He wants to penalize the folks who help them get there. We've entered into territory that is farcical. It's ridiculous and intrusive and performative, because he knows it's not something that we can enforce. But he's getting some points. I don't know. I just want you guys to know what is at stake. He is absolutely leading. He is absolutely the favored candidate. But we have two very good qualified candidates that are running for that. It's important. People don't show up for runoff elections. I got my absentee ballot in the mail today. Folks don't show up for runoffs. I'm begging you to show up for runoffs. I'm begging you to do your research, learn about Madison Horn, learn about Jason Bollinger. They are everywhere. Go and hear them speak, ask them the questions, and make your decision and show up. Otherwise, we have Senator, let me see your papers, prove to me you're not pregnant before you can leave the state guy who's going to get back in. That's really where we're headed. Okay. I needed to get that off my chest. I needed to make sure that you guys understood that there's a runoff on August 23rd and elections matter. Elections matter. We have got to show up. And apparently I didn't beg hard enough before June 28th. And so I want you to hear me. Show up August 23rd. It is very important. August 23rd is the runoff. I'll say it again. August 23rd, all over the state. That's not special Tulsa. That's not special Oklahoma City. Anywhere in the state, if you are a Democrat, you will have, whether you have municipal stuff on the ballot or not, you will absolutely have the runoff between Jason Bollinger and Madison Horn. Madison Horn, Jason Bollinger. You pick. You pick, but please pick. Please, please, please show up. August 23rd. Okay. Alrighty. So I want to come back to focusing on other candidates that are on the ballot. So today we have Steve Jarmon, who is running for state representative for House District 42. We ran into some technical difficulties, but Steve wanted to hang in there, and he wanted to be able to let you guys hear what he's talking about, what he stands for. And so you're not going to be able to see Steve in the flesh, but we do have a picture because I want you to know who Steve is. And I got a couple of questions for Steve. So first of all, Steve, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So tell the good people what your boundaries are.
As far as House District 42 is concerned, it is the northern majority of Garvin County, southern portions, southern part of McLean County and Cleveland County. It reaches along the north, it reaches all the way from Dibble to Lexington. And at the south, from west to east, it goes from Lindsay to Stratford.
Okay, so that is south of Norman, north of Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, I just for the map, I want everybody to know that we are trying to cover the map with our candidates. We're trying to have candidates all over the map. Maybe not every single space, but all over the map. So, what made you run? What made you decide to run?
First off, the incumbent, the Republican Cindy Rowe, popped off at me twice. Once in her office and once at a Chamber of Commerce luncheon where people were in town. And I was telling them I was upset because the state legislature as a whole passed in May of 2021 passed what was being pitched as a voucher bill. And I explained to the people who were there, who were not in the education profession, what vouchers do to schools. And whenever I was finished, I was being very polite, or I thought I was. I was trying to be professional about the entire thing. And she stood up there, and she was with State Senator Cindy Garvin from Duncan. And whenever I was finished, she very rudely told me, "Steve, you're wrong." I thought, "Okay, lady, I'll find you a replacement." And I did. And he backed out right at the last minute. And she's not going to run unopposed. But it runs much deeper than that. One man said, "Well, I'm sorry you got your feelings hurt. I am much more thick-skinned than that. It did not hurt my feelings." But especially right here in the Pauls Valley area, since 2015, we have been victims of decisions made by a Republican governor and the Republicans in general at the House and State Senate. In 2015, Mary Fallin made the decision to close the Southern Oklahoma Resource Center. Between the time the decision was made and the time when the doors and the gates were actually closed, there were at least 19 innocent, helpless people who died. As Grace Donaldson put it, Grace was a retired social worker at SORC. the way she put it in the newspaper, she wrote what I call the definitive letter and put it in our local newspaper the Sunday after they closed the gates. These were people who had to wear adult diapers. They couldn't tell you what they needed, much less what they wanted. And there were more deaths after that. One fellow was bedfast. A lot of times they would take the residents there and put them in nursing homes around here. Well, we only have 2 nursing homes here in Pauls Valley. Well, he was bedfast. And I was describing this situation to the Democrats at Pottawatomie County. I was invited to, in 2018, I ran for what was at that time House District 20. And Lynette was in the southwest corner of Pot County, and I was invited to go to Shawnee to speak. And I was telling those folks there about how this 20th death occurred. I said, we had children there at that meeting, and I said, there are children here, and I will not tell you what happened to the man that led up to his death, but if you want to visit with me after I step down from this platform, I will tell you what happened. And there was a lady at the back of the room spoke up loud and clear. His name was Richard. He was raped, and he was my brother. And all I could do is point to her and say, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Their dad brought him home, and he died as a result of that after he brought him home, after hearing about what happened to him. Not only that, but in 2018, we lost our hospital. We're one of the 5 communities in Oklahoma who lost their hospitals, and people in this area tried desperately to keep it open, and their efforts all came to naught. There was a lady who lived here for a long time. Her name was, I would draw a blank right now. But anyway, she was 94 years old, and she called her daughter, take me to the hospital, I'm having chest pains. Her daughter took her to the hospital. They had just turned out the lights and locked the doors. She raced her to the hospital at Purcell. They made it to the Purcell hospital all right, but she never made it inside. She died in the parking lot. I don't know that other communities have had the amount of deaths that we've had, but it's the simple reason why this has been going on that we really haven't had much representation down this way. As one fellow put it, all we've heard from 23rd and North Lincoln is crickets. And so, no, we haven't been receiving much in the way of representation down this way. So that's, get deep-seated, that's the reason why I'm running. Yes, I saw somebody put down. Yes, I was in the education profession for 31 years. You didn't ask me about my background, but anyway, I was 31 years a teacher. And I was more than just a teacher. I was lobbying, been lobbying since the early 80s, 81, 82. Been involved in a lot of education issues. And also I was a businessman. I'm not in business for myself as much as I was in the past. And I look like anything but a scuba instructor, but I am. I've been doing that for 30 years as well. This year makes 30 years as a scuba instructor.
So okay, so that was my next question. Tell us what your background is. And so thank you for sharing with your background. And so you just like Jim Haley from yesterday are people who answered the call. You weren't feeling represented. And rather than fuss about it and do nothing about it, you actually showed up, put your name on the ballot, and you put your name where your mouth is.
Exactly. I'm not afraid to run. I'm not afraid to run.
And so to that, I say thank you for putting your name on the ballot. Thank you for running. Thank you for joining me today. I think it's important that, like I said, that we have representation all over the state. I think it's important that people understand that it's not just lawyers that we want, at 23rd and Lincoln. We need people from all walks of life. And so if that's a teacher, if that's an activist, if that's a lawyer, it's people who understand that they're supposed to serve Oklahoma. Is that you, Steve?
I'll tell people I am pro-public education, no vouchers, and I am your pro-public education, no vouchers, and non-QAnon candidate for House District 42.
Non-QAnon? I hope that doesn't preclude you from getting elected.
Well, I hope so too. But
So how can the folks who are listening today help you?
I've been telling people since the very beginning, I need contributions. I'm not a wealthy man. I need contributions and I need healthy legs. I need people who can get out and help me go door to door, hand out cards. All aspects of this, of running a race, a political race.
All right. So if you want to help Steve, and I'm strongly encouraging you to help Steve, it is hard. And I'm going to say this every day this week. It is hard. It is difficult. It is challenging to get candidates to run for a whole bunch of reasons. One, you know, they will be the only ones in their area who's representing Democrats. And that's a big deal. And a lot of times they don't know if there are other Democrats in the area because Democrats aren't showing up. And it's a circle. They're not showing up because we don't have folks on the ballot, but now we have folks on the ballot. We got to get them to show up. And so Steve is going to be on your ballot in November. I beg you to show up. But the only way that it makes a difference is if we get the word out that he's running, make sure that people know who he is. So that's, dropping lit for him on a weekend or driving him around where he can drop lit on a weekend and talk to people on the doors. Donating money so he can afford that lit, so he can afford to do digital campaigning, get on Facebook and get ads all over the place so that people can know who he is. Sharing his social media. Those are the kinds of things. And when it gets closer to GOTV, helping him put out his signs. Those are the kinds of things. We got to let people know that there's a Democrat running in House District 42. So it's not just, Oklahoma City and Tulsa, that there's a Democrat running and a Democrat who understands and knows there needs to be focus on healthcare in South Central Oklahoma. There needs to be focus on education in South Central Oklahoma. So
Margie Chisholm was that lady's name. I just remembered it. Margie Chisholm.
Okay.
Been here for years.
So Steve is up on Act Blue. We have his link up here, but just so you can remember it, it's Jarmon for House. He's on Facebook. Reach out and offer to drive him around. Check out his post, share his social media, help our candidates. Now, I've been focusing on outside of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, but let me be clear. We need to hang on to the seats in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. So I don't want you to hear me and think that I'm abandoning Oklahoma City and Tulsa. I just want us to focus on the entire state. So, Steve, thank you so very much for joining me.
Could I put in two more things?
Sure.
Are we limited here on time? Two things.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
First off, if you haven't read this month's issue of Oklahoma Observer, I have an article in there. Arnold printed it for me. My stance on Roe versus Wade and what happened. It's a very personal matter, and it is to a lot of people.
So that's in what publication?
Oklahoma Observer. It came out in the local newspaper. It came out in the Purcell Register, and it came out in the Oklahoma Observer this month. It's like there's a lot of double standards going on here. Also, one last thing I'd like to say, and I'll make it as brief as I can. In 1998, I was fortunate to be selected to travel with a group of teachers and scientists to the Amazon Center for Environmental Education and Research in Peru. We spent 9 days there in the heart of the largest rainforest in the world. And we had two tour guides with us. Both of them were very intelligent men. One man's name was Basilio Wittis. The other was Ricardo Gonzalez. One night, we were able to sit and visit with them and ask them any question that we would like to ask them. I was the first person to speak up. What do we have in the United States that you wish you had in Peru? And I tell people, a lot of people think, well, our military might. Well, Peru is a peaceful nation. What are they going to fight with? Machu Picchu? And then second, some people think, well, our Social Security system. I actually know people in Mexico who wish they had Social Security. They do not have it. Basilio spoke up without hesitating. He said, your public education system, they don't have it. One of the greatest things we've got going for us as a nation and as a state and a nation is our public education system, and there are people who close the doors tomorrow because they don't want to pay the taxes to keep it open. It's fair, it is equitable, it's one of the greatest things we've got going for us. Thank you.
All righty, so please check out Steve in the Oklahoma Observer. one of the number one questions people ask is where do they stand on Roe? So he's written an article, so you'll hear that. You'll learn about that there. I want to give a shout out because I am grateful for the people who take time out of the day to come and join me and hear about the candidates and hear what the Oklahoma Democratic Party has to say. So, hi Wayne, hi Jonathan, hi Debbie, Nancy Presnall. I'll see you on Saturday. Mary Brannon down in CD4. Hi, Cynthia, Marianne, Debbie. Hey, Josh, Congressional District 5 candidate. Cynthia Diamond Stevenson. Hello. Hello, Angela. Thank you for sharing this everywhere that you share this. Hello, Denise. We've not met, but maybe one day we will. Monticello. I don't want to leave anybody out that I can see. Wilma Hayes. Thank you all. Thank you for taking your time and keeping up to date, because an educated electorate is the best electorate. So thanks for joining us. I hope to see you guys in Oklahoma City on July 20th. Was that a week from yesterday? On July 20th at VZD on Western. We're having a karaoke night. It's cheap. It's $10 to join us and sing your favorite song karaoke. We're going to have a couple of silent auction items. It should be fun. So I hope to see you there. But in the meantime, I'll see you tomorrow where I'll have Crystal LaGrone, who is running in Coweta. You guys have a great one, and we'll see you tomorrow.